You want me to coerce an inspector after someone else did the work? This happened years ago. I had just started working as an independent electrician, and one day I received a call from a new customer. He was one of those people that flips homes in lower income neighborhoods. I'll call him Todd, but honestly, I've forgotten what his name is. Todd asked me to meet him at a vacant house he recently bought to give him an estimate for a full rewiring job. He was 30 minutes late, so I was already unimpressed with him. Upon entering the house, which was right after a rainstorm had passed through, we found an inch of water covering the hardwood floors. There was water pouring out of small holes in the columns on the front porch. Everything was soaked. Instead of showing me around, Todd called his business partner and brother and spent the next 20 minutes cussing him for not fixing the roof. I'm standing around and listening to his man-baby rage on full display. The whole time I'm thinking there's no way I'm going to work for this guy. His fuse was way too short and his anger was out of hand. I gave him a price, which admittedly was the "I don't want to do this job" price, and didn't hear back from him until months later. Todd called me later that year. He explained that he had found an electrician from 3 states away and had paid the electrician with ceramic tiles instead of cash. The problem now? Well, he needed an inspection from the city electrical inspector. I agreed to meet the inspector for him, which I would bill him for. I went back to the house about 20 minutes before the inspector showed up and saw numerous issues. When the inspector arrived, we walked through together. Every issue I saw, the inspector also saw. He pointed them out, and every time, I agreed with him that the work was not up to code. This inspector kept looking at me with a puzzled expression. After we did a complete walkthrough, I finally explained to the inspector that I didn't do any of the work and was hired to get him to pass the inspection. He asked me if I thought he should, and I told him, absolutely not. I got paid for my time. I got paid to repair all the violations. And I formed a strong relationship with that inspector, who was always lenient with me on all my future jobs. Ethics. Priceless. Electrician here. Sometimes my potential customers think my prices are too high. That's completely understandable. You should always shop around. But if you get someone unqualified to do the work, it will cost a lot more for me to come back and fix it. I formed a strong relationship with that inspector, who was always lenient with me on all my future jobs. My first thought is that I hope you mean he bent the rules, but refused to break the rules. Faulty electrical work isn't something to overlook. Nice malicious compliance. Why did the owner have you meet the inspector? Was he trying to pass off the work as your work? Is having a licensed electrician present a requirement? Sorry for all the questions. I'm not sure what's going on with that. Lol. Thank you for not trying to encourage them to pass it anyway. That's literally how people die. Ya know? My house is like that. Can't use half the outlets or else it'll start an electrical fire. Not even kidding. 3 walls have scorch marks. And now, removed outlets from it, because they didn't prepare the internal walls properly. It's almost impossible to rerun electricity to the entire top floor except for one spot, which we already replaced. It's honestly scary. And we can't even afford to get it fixed professionally, so we just do what we can when we can. I got paid to repair all the violations. And I formed a strong relationship with that inspector, who was always lenient with me on all my future jobs. When I used to work at McDonald's, we had that kind of relationship with the health inspector. Nicest lady who didn't nitpick. She knew we followed the cleaning procedures and checking temps and everything, so she never made it a stressful time. She would laugh with us at stupid customers who called us in. There was that one guy who tried to temp his own burger and called in because it failed his test. This idiot didn't ask for it plain or fresh or anything, so you got a burger that was sitting in the warmer. Had cool pickles, ketchup, mustard and onions and a cool piece of cheese on it. And he thought it would temp like it was fresh. Dude, if you're still out there and read this, you're a laughing stock of McDonald's and the health department, and you wasted their time because she checked it properly and was like, oh, it tempted correctly just like the last time I was here. Shocker. Inspectors love honesty. Similar thing happened to me last month. My father was also an electrician. I started as an under him in 2006. I've since become licensed. He passed 4 years ago and I formed an LLC and hired an employee. I got a call from a builder who is sort of a friend of the family. Turns out said builder did an addition, remodel in the mid-90s. I was in middle school, high school, and my father wired it. No permits were pulled by any trade or builder. Fast forward 30-ish years and potential buyers of the house are asking why the addition wasn't permitted. The builder calls me, asks me to pull a retroactive permit and get it inspected. I laughed and said no. It's not that I don't trust my father's work, but it never occurred to the builder that I would be held liable for everything that's been done for the past 30 years. No thanks. Never piss off an inspector. He will do a very thorough inspection of your work. I mean, I'd rip my brother's head off on the phone too if he was in charge of fixing the roof and there was a foot of water in the house. Great compliance. And as someone who's had a good friend die in a fire caused by a corner-cutting electrician, thanks for being one of the many good ones. I wonder if you're from my northern Midwestern city known for water in winter, because Todd sounds like this guy the first used to work with on my flipping project's smiling face with terror, and had paid the electrician with ceramic tiles instead of cash. What? I'm sure his business liability insurer accepted ceramic tiles instead of cash, too. Lol. Also, was this the rough-in or the final inspection? As an inspector, I will always go above and beyond to help a contractor pass inspection as long as they don't insult me with trying to pass horrendous work. I recently paid nearly $2,000 to have the gas piping into my house replaced. Plumbers said, this is what we'll have to fix so the inspection goes smoothly. It'll cost X. Inspection was flawless. He walked in, looked at the furnace, looked at the stove, looked at the water heater and said, looks great. These guys do good work. I'll release it back to the gas company. Having a good relationship with the inspector is key. Awesome. I have found that authorities are one of two kinds of people. Either they're idiots that can't be reasonable, or they have some common sense and you can earn their respect. This guy was one of the good ones. And it seems like Op got on their good side and was able to get some things done because of that relationship. I love this. Fuck that landlord. Literally trying to rent out places that could kill people. Absolutely disgusting. Sound like Todd still got a decent deal. Some tile in a few hours from you. Did a retrofit install of a wired security system into the local electrical inspector's house. He was very impressed that all the wiring was hidden. He was expecting potential surface runs or fixing holes in the drywall. And years later, when I was on my own, he happened to inspected one unit I pre-wired. Was impressed with the quality and methods I employed, and he never once pulled my jobs for inspection in 15 years. I didn't break the rules. It was to my benefit. And if he was ever inspecting an electrical pre-wire in a unit I did low voltage in, He'd rubber stamp my permit too, mainly to show more work done on his part. But we ran into each other often and he'd tell me I was the absolute last contractor he would inspect if there was anything else on his plate, which there always was. I think he liked that I'd rather talk about anything other than work. Stay friendly with your inspectors, and if you're a good contractor, your jobs will be better for it. Where is the malice? You did everything right. Anything else would have harmed Todd, too.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epicaricast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.